Well, what's up, folks? Welcome to another episode here at the channel. We are looking today at the RUIKE F118-B, F118-B. Now, for you, if you're watching this video, this is right away what I was thinking when I got my hands on this tool, and why I've been looking at it. It's been in my Amazon cart wish list for quite a while, over a year, is that if you're looking for a compact belt knife style blade that's stainless steel, that's going to be under $100. There aren't all that many options out there, and particularly with the type of steel that this RUIKE has on it, which is Sandvik 14C 28N steel. Now, that's what really made me gravitate to it, because the price on this guy usually goes around $65. And for that type of steel, with the lines that we're getting, a polymer sheath, lots of belt attachment options that we're gonna get through today, full tang construction like this, with definitely a large belly, giving it definitely a feel of a compact outdoors knife. It has not a lot else on the market that's competing with all these features at that price point, and with all the added bonuses of the sheath design. So that's what has always made me kind of like, I want to get my hands on this. So I was able to get my hands on it, and so we're going to take it out today. You're going to see a ton of footage. We're going to see what are the positives, what are the negatives, and whether or not this might be a great option for you when you're on a budget, but you want that good sheath options, full tang feature, good steel like Sandvik 14C 28N, and you want to spend under $100. So with that, let's go ahead and get to it and see what this knife has to offer. All right, so here we are tabletop and running in again a bunch of blade footage throughout, and you're going to see a lot of action shots both in the backyard for cordage and rope and that type of stuff, as well as several trips that I have taken this blade out with to really get a good handle on its capability. What is good about it? What are its drawbacks? And we're going to run in tons of competitive options today and talk price point and value and all those different things, and get to all of it here today, and lots of head-to-head stuff going on. So let me just give you some basic specs here. This is a Chinese-made knife. Now, RUIKE is owned, or their sub-company, however you want to work it, of Phoenix Flashlights. So that's what's nice about this company, is that it's tied to a long-standing company here in the United States, and has, you know, U.S. Housing in the United States, as well as, you know, being produced over in China, obviously. So that's right out of the gate. Some people, you know, don't have a problem with that. I don't tend to really have much of an issue with that. Some people, you know, immediately be like, oh, Chinese, don't want to buy it. Understand? Then you can check out immediately if that's what you want to do. But there's a lot going on for this knife, and I've seen a lot coming out of China lately that is really on par with a lot of US and other foreign produced knives out there on the market. So Chinese made, but it is made with Sandvik 14C 28N steel. So that is a Rockwell 58 to 60. So it's definitely in the ballpark of between kind of like AUS 8 that's done really well from, say, like a SOG Seal Pup, and like a VG10, like a basic VG10 that you would find on some Spydercos and those type of things. It's right kind of in that world of stainless steel knives. So it is stainless steel, so rather rust resistant. I prefer stainless steel in this size range over high carbon when I have the opportunity. Or if we're talking about like a super steel high carbon like CPM 3V that has other stuff in it, you know, or something like that, S35EN, that's a little bit different. But when we're talking about this price point, these type of steels, if you say, hey, what is your preference, high carbon or stainless steel? I prefer stainless steel, and Sandvik 14C 28N is a good option. And for the price that you're getting is a pretty decent steel overall. Good edge retention. The Rockwell that they've done is strong without it being overly chippy. That's a possibility with stainless steels, or any type of steel, that if you over Rockwell it and don't heat treat it properly. But this has been heat treated right. It's tough, it's durable. So some of the basic specs for us here as we go through it is overall length from back to front. You're looking at 8.78 inches. Now, the knife itself on my scale weighs 7 ounces. With the sheath, it comes in at about 10.5 ounces. So coming in definitely in that like belt carry, compact, you know, companion blade size range. This is going to have G10 molded handle scales here that we'll get to in a little bit, and then an ABS plastic sheath. So it's a polymer type of sheath that they are offering with a stonewash finish. They do have a different color. This is black. They do have another version as well that is out there in the color combinations that we'll get to a little bit later on the handle scale. So that's basically what we're looking at here on the basic specs of the knife. We're going to jump right into the blade itself. You can see lots of wear. I really wanted to get a really good feel for this knife. I really worked hard on it because I wanted to see. There aren't a lot of reviews out there. It's definitely from a smaller, you know, sub company, Chinese made. I'm like, okay, let's make sure that this is a knife that I can test out and say, hey, this is what I like about it. This is what I don't. This is what you can expect. That's what I always want to do here at the channel, guys, is give you that feedback. So we took it on several treks out in the cold, out in the warmth, and really had some fun doing a lot of woodscraft tasks, mostly with it. And what you're going to be getting is basically a maximum thickness back here near the spine and the jimping, which is a very light jimping. I love it. I mean, if I'm going to have jimping on a knife, that's the type of jimping that I want. Right there. That's perfect. Not too sharp. Just gives me a little extra grab there. You're looking at 0.18, so basically 3/16 of an inch thick, tapering down well with that high saber grind. It's a very high saber grind. Nice little clip there, a little swedge, but doesn't affect any of the strength of the blade, and it's still very wide and enough for light batoning. And I definitely did a lot of light batoning with this, you know, splitting up wood for kindling. Particularly in some of the environment I was in, it was like had snowed, heavy wet snow a couple days earlier, and so all the wood is wet, so you want to split that up so that it can dry out real quick so that you can get a good fire going. So it could easily do that. Didn't have any issues with it. Definitely did some prying with that tip, which is strong and precise, but not strong but precise. That's what I'll say. It's not overly thin, and I was able to crank on some wood and didn't have any sort of snapping or chipping on that blade. So really nice large belly. That's another big positive for me that I really liked. I was like, wow, this is a great, like the belly is just really, really nice. So it's a really good slicer with the good edge geometry, and the very high saber grind makes it a decent food prep knife as well. You could do some basic food prep tasks if you needed to, but lots of carving, whittling, spear making, notches, all those things, even though it is at 0.18, which is a little thick for its blade length, which from the handle to the tip can be right at about 4.4 inches, and then actual cutting edge is going to be like 4 1/4. Actually, excuse me, cutting edge is about 4 inches even on the actual cutting edge. So you do have that kind of large area right here. But, you know, thinner is always better for me, particularly in this size range. The larger the knife, then I prefer thicker, but in this size range, it's a little thick. 0.16 maybe would have been ideal, but it doesn't feel like a big beefy survival knife, and it's not. So it's stout and durable, so you can use it in a lot of scenarios, but still nimble and fine enough that you can do a lot of woodscraft basic tasks like. Now, all of the angles are machined and rounded. There are no sharp angles on this, basically. They do have a slightly exposed back pommel here, so you could grind a part on that to get it to throw sparks, but it will not be able to throw sparks on its own because there aren't any 90-degree spines. It's all machined, all rounded and contoured. All right, so next we'll jump to the sheath here. It's nice that it comes with this polymer sheath. Really cool belt attachment. We're going to look at this part first. It took me a little moment to kind of get used to it, but once I got used to it, it definitely has a lot of functionality to it. So it definitely stands off from the sheath quite a bit with those rubber spacers. You could replace those and kind of bring it down a little bit. I would have liked that just to make it a little more flush, but they were probably doing that to make sure that you had enough space here. But it has this little metal tab. I don't know if you guys can see this in here, hopefully. It's moving this little metal tab back and forth, and that releases this belt clip, which is strong, to be able to rotate. And then you can rotate it several different angles, however you would like to clip it onto your belt or a pack. And I really like that feature a lot. Very cool, very innovative. I have never seen that. I've reviewed literally hundreds of fixed blades at this point on this channel, and I've never seen a belt clip attachment quite like it. I've have used this quite a bit, but haven't had like months and months and months of on and off, on and off. I don't know durability wise. I mean, it looks like strong polymers, but I don't know, long term. I wanted to have a Blade Tech lock. I'm not 100% sure about the Blade Tech lock capability. I will just measure for you guys literally here on the spot. You're looking at from center point to center point about 1.35 inches. So I don't know if that, I think that'll fit a Blade Tech lock. I'm not 100%. If you wanted to replace that, you could probably screw that in there. Ambidextrous, obviously you could just unscrew it and swap it to the other side. There is a retention screw right here, and this is the only kind of downer to it, is that is needed. When I got it, it was barely seating inside the sheath, and I really had to crank down that retention screw right there to give it any sort of retention. Now it's pretty good. It's got a nice thumb ramp right there, and I can pull it out, and it's got a decent snap, but it seems to be kind of wearing right there on that little guard where the lanyard hole is up there. And I feel like over time, this is gonna wear out a little bit more and it'll get loose again, and then I'm gonna have to either keep cranking down. So for belt carry, you know, in an upward or kind of like at a canter angle, I think it'd be fine. I would not rock this upside down long-term on like on a shoulder strap or of a backpack or something like that. I just feel like over time, it could kind of wear out. So it's kind of 50-50. Initially, I think the sheath is pretty good. Over time, I could see some issues starting to possibly arise, and that I wish that there was just a better retention slightly, and maybe just if the sheath had been a little deeper back in there to be able to kind of make the retention and just the grab of the knife a little bit better. I would say, you know, if this is like my custom Kydex that I love, and I'm going to give that 10 out of 10. This is an AZ Welke custom sheath. Great places to get sheaths. That's a 10. I would give this maybe like a 6 or a 7 for polymer sheaths. You know, it's good, and depending on how you carry it, won't be a problem. If you like carrying your knives upside down, you may want to look at a custom option down the line once you begin to see maybe some wear, because I am seeing wear in that little joint where it grabs right there, and that's the only real retention point, is just right there around that guard. And then next up, we're going to do this handle here. Now this is another point that you'll just have to kind of weigh. Now I wear large size gloves. If you've been watching the channel, you know that. I've been talking about them for years. This knife will fit just enough inside my hand with just a little bit to spare there. Feels great, it feels full, feels ergonomic. I feel like I can have a lot of different grip angles, and it's comfortable to use. I can, you know, guide the blade if I'm doing more, you know, game food processing, you know, or something like that. In a more tactical application, I have a really deep guard here, which is great with that, again, light jimping. So I could thrust really quickly if I needed to, or flip it around, same thing. I can thrust, and again, I'm going to have a good amount of grip with just a little bit to spare. I would have liked to see a little bit longer handle. I've heard a couple people complaining that the handle was a little too small for them. For me, it's nice and full. Just to give you some perspective here, the handle scales themselves, tell me if you guys like this protractor feel. I haven't really done this before because I'm doing some of this on the fly. This is 4.23 inches of the actual handle scale length. And then the palm swell, it's great. I mean, you know, contours a little bit near the bolts on either end. Obviously full tang there. It's going to be at about maximum thickness. It's going to be about 0.81, and then tapering down near the bolts to 0.69. So still very full. Top to bottom length is 1.2 inches thick there as well. And then the tang just kind of becomes exposed right back here for a kind of a non-lethal here with the lanyard hole. You do have that lanyard hole up here that you could, you could take the handle scales off and lash it and make a spear out of it. You could do kind of a double run that I've done in the past if you wanted to do, if you felt like you're gonna do a lot of hacking. This is not a knife to do a lot of hacking with, but this didn't cause any hot spots either back here. This little exposed pommel, because they rounded it and the G10 is so close. So it's got some nice little light ribbing on it as well. Just really well done. I have zero complaints with it. Nice and flush. The symmetry on the handles is really well done. Much more ergonomic than like clunky squared off, like let's say even, I'm gonna be real, SE4, Rat, 5, something like that. They tend to be kind of square and blocky. This is going to be much more contoured, feel very ergonomic. I can do a reverse grip, just barely. Again, I would have liked to have that being 4.2 inches, maybe like 4.5, 4.6, 4.8 would have been ideal, but it fits my large size hand. So my suggestion would be if you're small, medium, or large, it'll be fine. If you are on the bigger end of large into extra large and on in your glove sizes, maybe think twice. It might be a little small for you. You may not be happy with the length of the handle, but ergonomically and like with the G10 and all that, very well done, no issues, and felt great when I did lots of carving, lots of woodscraft. You're holding the knife for an extended period of time, no hot spots or issues. Okay, so we'll run in some competitive options, just to give you kind of an idea of what else is out there. And as I said a little bit earlier, this has a lot of potential depending on what you're looking for. If you are looking for stainless steel, if you're looking for the certain price point and you like the shape, I mean, this has a lot going for it. The only drawbacks could be long-term, and again, I can't speak speak to it completely, but I could see issues long-term with possibly some of the sheath, so you may need to upgrade at some point, and depending on your hand size, how long the handle is. That's really the only drawbacks that I'm seeing with this knife at all. I mean, there's so much going for it. And so this has a price point of, when I am making this, it had a couple on Amazon in the black handle for 50 bucks. Normal price is more like 65 to 70, and that's normally what you'll see it on Blade HQ. Amazon will have those links in the description below, so that throughout this video, the knives I'm about to roll in, or this knife, if it connects with you, use those hyperlinks, helps us out, continue to do what we do, as well as the backcountry.com, as well as many of the other links that we just have below. We really appreciate when you use those hyperlinks. And to just let you guys know, this was sent to me. I requested this from RUIKE. I said, hey guys, let me see what this has to offer. I've been looking at it. As I told you, it's been in my Amazon box for like a year, and they were willing to send one over to me so I could test it out to give you this feedback and really thump on it, and then give you these competitive options so you can decide, is this the right tool for me, or are there other things that just make more sense? So really the first one, particularly if we're talking woodscraft, that jumps out as very similar materials, price, and everything else, is of course the Mora Garberg. This is also Sandvik 14C 28N steel. It's right around $70 to $80. It's made in Sweden, not China obviously, but a polymer, sheath with lots of lashing options. Full tank construction, obviously a little thinner, Scandi grind. A more ergonomic handle in the sense of woodscraft, but if you're looking at maybe using it as a bug out bag knife, or a get home bag, you may want some tactical quote unquote application, just a deeper guard. This does not have the type of guard that you would need for some of those tasks, and the grind angle is great for woodscraft, but not the best for really hard utility tasks. So there are trade-offs to that, and that's why this rake may connect with you more, but they're about the same price point. Chinese made in Sweden. I'm not sure about that price point, normally about $65 to $70. So if you're looking between these two, if you're going pure woodscraft and that's all you ever think you're going to use, boom, and you'd like Scandis, I mean, the Garberg is the jam. If you're looking for more of a crossover, kind of more do everything, quote unquote survival knife style, or you just want something, you just don't like Scandi grind. Some people just are like, yeah, it's lame, I don't really like it. Then this would definitely be more of like a jack of all trades, combat utility, woods knife, kind of field knife feel to the blade. Now the other one, USA made, that jumps out as well is going to be the Gerber Strongarm. Boom. Now what's really sucky with the Gerber Strongarm, we'll be honest, is that these used to come in at 50 bucks and sometimes even 45. Lately, for the last 6 months or so on Amazon, they've been going for like almost $70, $67 to $70. That sucks, and that I'm gonna do a redo video on that. These need to stay around that price point. For that price point, it's insane. For 70 bucks, you're running into a lot of other blades out there that might have better materials. Now, the 420 high carbon is super tough, super durable, and is okay. These blades will hold their edges longer before you have to resharpen them. The sheath, though, on the Gerber is insane, and I love it. It's so modular that it's ridiculous. And I would argue that out of the ones that you're going to see here today, this is by far the strongest knife. Go watch the gauntlet where I threw this knife that you're looking at to like 10 different YouTube reviewers. They all tried to break it. Nobody could break it. And so USA made. Again, about $70, right in the almost exact same price point as the RUIKE. So that's something to consider. It's very much in that kind of same vein. This will even have a higher grind though, so it's slightly better at like food prep and even carving and whittling tasks. And I jumped it in here earlier. This will be the last competitive option around this price point is, again, this is my tricked out USA made K-Bar BK16, Becker BK16, phenomenal woods knife. 0.16 on the thickness, full flat grind. I stripped the coating, put my Carta handle scales on it. Out of the box with the polymer handles, which don't have as much traction as these G10, but are kind of similar in the sense of their contouring and stuff. That's going to run you about $70, very similar price point, and it's going to come with a nylon sheath that's decent, but I would argue if I had to choose between the two out of the box, I would prefer this polymer one, even though, again, you may have to upgrade down the line. I feel like with the BK16, really to get the most out of it, you got to go AZ Welke, and again, I'll have links below to really do that. So I mean, I've tricked this out to make it be like a $150 knife, but out of the box, it's about $70. It's still a great knife at $70, which again would be a good woods knife, but because it's thinner and has a full flat grind, there are positives, and it's high carbon. So I had to treat it, and I got to watch it with the rust. This being stainless steel, it can keep its edge as long, if not longer, than the 1095. and it won't rust on me. So those are things to kind of consider there. And it does have a little bit thicker, stronger tip, you know, again, for that maybe do everything blade versus just purely woodscraft. You know, this wouldn't be my first choice in a bug out situation. This might be my choice because of the blade shape and thickness and those type of things that we're looking at. So what I'm saying is, for the $65 to $70 price point on the rake, it has a lot going for it. It's very much kind of in this world of blades, depending on what you're interested in. At $50, which is what I saw it at, one of the black handle version, they had a couple, and it may still be that price when I post this video. I don't know, normal price about 65 to 70. I think it's great. 50 bucks, go for it, jump on it, it's amazing. At the $65, $70 price point, there are definitely some steep competition knives that you really have to think through. Is the rake really the best option, or would it be better to go with a USA-made knife, a Swedish-made knife, and is this really what I'm looking for, or some of these maybe have a more dialed-in perspective that I need? Jack of all trades, more woodscraft. So these are almost more like tactical field knives, in my opinion. These are almost more like woodscraft knives. So things to contemplate, consider. That's what I always want to do here, guys, when I do these videos, is to give you feedback and give you data points so you can go, is that really what I want? Or nope, that's not. I see value in one of these other designs. That's what we always want to do here. There is a lot, though, going for the rake F118. I think the materials are there, the ergonomics, the design overall is there, and then particularly if you can get it at a steal of about 50 bucks, jump on it. And then at 70, depending on what you're looking for, it is a good jack of all trades knife, and definitely comparable to a lot of blades that I put here on the market, or on the table here for you today, to decide, is this the right tool for you? So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's been informative, entertaining. As always, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. Ask your comments below. Love to answer them. If you guys have any other questions, I could try and answer them in the data below, or some other viewers may already own this knife and can answer some of those questions for you. And just appreciate it, guys. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Make sure to hit that bell icon next to the subscription button if you haven't already, to make sure the videos show up in the newsfeed. And finally, guys, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.